I think you may remember there was an election last year.
Vaguely.
Where cost of
I try to
living
block it out most
was allegedly
days,
the number one issue that
Australians.
everyone cared about. Well, here we are, as I just pointed out, many, many months in, a budget in, all the rest of it, full control of the Australian economy, and it's now the worst it's been inflation-wise in 20 years. So an upper house inquiry has begun to look into cost of living. But the question I want to ask you guys is, why don't people seem to blame the government? Their polls have been absolutely unaffected despite not delivering on the central reason for change at last year's election.
So the aim of the Cost of Living Committee is to find those workable, practical solutions, to consult with industry, to find out where the frictions are. Is it in supply chains? Is it in energy prices? What is it that they can suggest to us that would help Australians with their issues around the cost of living right now?
On the other side of things, Bill Shorten not having the most pleasant time with Neil Mitchell on the radio yesterday.
The question is, should he have spent more time in the Alice?
This is the honeymoon's over part two, Bill. Yes, the appearance looks. I don't deny he should go to the tennis. I think it's a good thing. But 3 days and a few hours in Alice Springs, we've got a real crisis.
Sorry, telly, not radio. So, put simply, Joe, Tony Abbott says, I'll stop the boats, 2013.
Yep.
If he hadn't begun that process within 6 months, people would have been screaming the house down, why haven't you delivered? Now, I know there's been the minimum wage rise. I know there's been a few things before the Fair Work Commission. I know there's some plans when it comes to some industrial relations changes, but that's not going to affect the bulk of the population. Yet the bulk of the population isn't moving and seems to support the government more than they did when they elected them.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, plenty of people didn't think that Tony Abbott could stop the boats, and he did prove them wrong. But a boat is a thing you can, as hard as it is, and Lord knows.
I'm talking about core promises.
But in terms of core promises, a boat is something you can actually stop and turn around if you're able to do that. An economy takes a very, very long time to turn around, and I think most people know that. Most people are economically literate. They become more economically literate in tougher times, I think, and so even an art student like myself can get their head around it.
And the government made a legitimate choice not to send out cheques.
But also, obviously the opposition, as it was then, the Labor opposition, made a bit of hay with rising cost of living and said you'll be better off under us.
There were bales of it.
That was their entire campaign.
But that's it. John
We're
Howard's
going to fix the cost of living. We're going to 97 times reduce your power bills
in
by
2004 was, who do you trust to keep interest rates low? And
I can tell you who you should trust. It's
and what happened when he didn't keep them low?
And that's right. And then 2007 it happened again, and the Reserve Bank actually put them up. But that just proves that these are things that are beyond the government's control. They're beyond. The government can do things around the edges, but the government can't control whether or not the RBA puts up interest rates or not.
You can't make the promise and then say we don't really have any power to implement.
What I'm saying is it's something that both sides will always say, that life will be better under us, interest rates will be lower under us, cost of living will be lower under us.
Cost of living was lower under us. Energy bills were lower under us. Interest rates were lower under us. In fact, coming out of the pandemic, our deficit's now $200 billion better off than the peak of pandemic under the Liberal government.
So where's the bounce in the polls if that's true?
To be honest, I think electors take a little while before they'll publicly say, yeah, okay, maybe I didn't go the right way. I think Australian voters tend to own their vote for 12 to 18 months before they say, maybe we didn't quite get this one spot on. Maybe we didn't see through this guy properly. And I think they are going to see through him, because you want to talk about energy. They can do stuff about energy, and everything that they've done has made it worse.
Correct.
We've now got gas supply shortages. We've got companies that won't put supply into the market. There are the prices. When energy. The basic economic.
I've got to pull the pin, so last point, Joe.
Well, I was just going to say, people are not going to expect to see results in the first 6 months. They're not going to expect inflation demon.
In 18 months.
If inflation keeps going up, obviously, I reckon you guys will be looking pretty good. But if it does start to go down, and if the reforms start to take effect in April,
energy bill cut.
that is what they have said. So we shall see. Mine
went up twice. It was over 150%.
Yes, you got the last say.
All
right, thank you. No. Last say has happened. Thank you very much, Holly. Thank you very much, Joe. We'll see you again next week.